Limitless heaven, proof of our God's infinite power. Limitless heaven for our limitless God. When human imagination reaches its breaking point, when language fractures beneath the weight of eternity, when numbers crumble trying to measure the infinite, one truth stands unshaken. Our God is limitless. Galaxies spin like brushstrokes on the canvas of creation. Oceans roar with unmeasured depth. Mountains rise like giants crowned in snow. And yet every one of them ends. Horizons fade into darkness. Peaks fall back into valleys. Stars, though burning with ancient brilliance, collapse into silence. Heaven has no ending. It stretches where thought cannot reach, expands where vision cannot see, and lasts where time cannot go. The Bible dares to pull back the curtain on this staggering reality. In Revelation 21, John describes a city, the New Jerusalem, rising like a jewel suspended in eternity, stretching 12,000 furlongs in length, width, and height. In today's terms, that is 1,500 miles in every direction. A perfect cube that pierces through sky, atmosphere, and space itself. Imagine a city so vast that it towers 6 times higher than the International Space Station, so wide it would swallow nations in its foundations, so expansive it makes continents look small. And yet, this staggering number is only a glimpse, a whisper, a shadow of infinity. For the New Jerusalem is not merely a structure, it is the throne room of God's majesty, the eternal heartbeat of His limitless love. Every wall glowing with jasper, every foundation shimmering with gemstones, every gate carved from pearl, every street glowing like transparent gold shouts the same unshakable message. This is the eternal sermon of God's greatness. Earth hoards its treasures, men kill for gold, nations war for jewels, and kings crown themselves with diamonds. But in heaven, these treasures are building blocks, foundation stones, simple decorations beneath the feet of the redeemed. Heaven is not designed for scarcity, not built for the privileged, not reserved for a chosen elite. It was crafted by the God of abundance as a home without edges, a kingdom without borders, a masterpiece without measure. And at the heart of this brilliance lies the truth that brings even angels to their knees. The size of heaven is not about architecture, it is about love, a love so vast it cannot be contained by galaxies, a love so endless it outlives stars, a love so limitless that eternity itself becomes its dwelling place. Heaven is not just big, heaven is limitless, because it was built by the God who has no limit. Heaven cannot be measured, because the God who created it cannot be measured. Our human minds cling to rulers, numbers, and boundaries, but eternity was never designed with tape measures or finite calculations. Every horizon that stretches beyond sight, every wall glowing with radiant beauty, every river flowing endlessly, every jewel blazing with eternal fire declares the same breathtaking truth. Our limitless God has prepared a limitless heaven. It is not bound by space or time, not held by gravity or laws of physics. It was built with infinity, because only infinity is worthy of the God who has no end. Revelation 21 gives us a staggering glimpse into this divine masterpiece. John, caught up in the Spirit, describes the New Jerusalem, the capital city of heaven, as 12,000 furlongs in length, width, and height. In modern terms, this equals nearly 1,500 miles in every direction, a perfect cube stretching into realms no human eye has seen. And yet, even this incomprehensible number is not the whole picture. It is but a doorway, a shadow, a faint whisper of infinity itself. Heaven's design is not random geometry. It is the architectural reflection of the God whose greatness defies comprehension. On earth, everything is bound by limits. Mountains tower, but they have peaks. Oceans roar, but they meet shores. Skies rise, but they bend into space. Stars dazzle, but they are numbered. Galaxies swirl, but they are mapped. Our universe, though breathtakingly vast, is finite. But in heaven, every limitation evaporates. No end, no border, no ceiling, no horizon that fades into darkness. Eternity is not a cage, it is freedom unleashed. The God of infinity designed heaven not as a finite space, but as a reflection of his own boundless nature. Picture yourself standing at the edge of the Pacific Ocean, its endless waves crashing with force, stretching farther than your eyes can see. You feel small before its vastness, humbled by its power. Yet even the mighty Pacific has boundaries. It ends at the continents. It is charted on maps. Now imagine an ocean with no borders, no shores, no edges, no limits. An ocean without end. That is only the faintest glimpse of heaven's reality, a place where endlessness itself is the new normal, and where infinity stretches without pause. Our God is not confined by time, space, or human imagination. He is the one who spoke galaxies into existence with a word, who stretched the heavens like a canvas, who measured waters in the hollow of his hand. Isaiah 66:1 declares, "Heaven is my throne and earth is my footstool." Think of the scale that demands. The earth itself is but a footstool beneath his glory. A limitless God would never prepare a small eternity. The immensity of heaven is not a random exaggeration. It is a sermon carved into creation itself, an eternal testimony about his majesty. When John described heaven's walls and foundations glowing with jewels, he was not reaching for poetic symbols. He was describing reality. Jasper is clear as crystal, sapphire glowing like the captured sky, emeralds blazing with living fire, topaz, beryl, amethyst, rubies, all infused with divine radiance. On earth, kings and nations have gone to war for a single jewel. Empires have risen and crumbled for gold. But in heaven, these treasures are reduced to simple building materials. What men hoard and kill for, God lays into walls. What earth calls priceless, heaven calls ordinary. And every jewel pulses with God's limitless light. And yet, for all its cosmic vastness, heaven is not impersonal. That is its glorious paradox. It is greater than galaxies, stretching higher than the imagination can climb, yet intimate enough for each redeemed soul to have a dwelling perfectly designed for them. A place tailored, a home prepared, a sanctuary inscribed with love. The God of infinity is also the God of detail. His love is not diminished by the vastness of his kingdom, it is magnified. Jesus promised this very truth in John 14:2. "In my Father's house are many mansions. I go to prepare a place for you." These were not metaphors or poetic exaggerations. They were literal, eternal promises. Limitless heaven is not space. It is filled with personal care. The immensity guarantees no crowding, no lack, no suffocating press of souls. Yet the heart of Christ ensures that even in a kingdom this vast, no one will ever feel forgotten or alone. The endlessness of heaven guarantees endless discovery. On earth, we grow bored because everything runs out. We finish the book, the song ends, the movie closes, the road stops. We climb the highest mountain, and there is nowhere else to go. But in heaven, discovery never ceases. You could walk for 10,000 years and still not touch the edge. You could search for eternity and always find something new, something glorious, something unimaginable. Eternity is not static repetition. Eternity is a fresh wonder forever. Consider the Milky Way galaxy, 100,000 light years across, holding over 100 billion stars. To humanity, that is an unfathomable size. Science calls this vast, yet Scripture whispers small. For the universe itself is held in the hand of the God who calls heaven his throne. Limitless heaven dwarfs cosmic grandeur. What scientists call infinite space is but a shadow of the eternal city that contains it all. No telescope, no satellite, no invention of man can measure heaven's immensity. Human technology always encounters limits. Space has edges to observe. Time has bounds to measure. But heaven? Heaven has no edge, no limit, no end. The God who spoke galaxies into being with a breath also spoke a city too immense for creation to contain. Even the walls of heaven proclaim infinity. Revelation describes them as 216 feet thick, made of jasper. Imagine that. Walls of gemstone, glowing with God's fire, thicker than skyscrapers are tall. Earthly kings built walls to defend themselves, to hide from enemies, to keep people out. But heaven's walls are not built in fear. They stand to testify, this kingdom is unshakable, this eternity is unbreakable, this glory is forever. Heaven's gates of pearl are not mere symbols of wealth. They are monuments of permanence and redemption. Pearls, formed through years of pressure and pain, stand as eternal reminders that heaven's glory was purchased at great cost through the sacrifice of the Lamb. And these gates are never shut. Day and night they remain open, because in a limitless heaven, the invitation never closes and the welcome never fades. Flowing through the city is the river of life, clear as crystal, proceeding directly from the throne of God. On earth, rivers dry up in drought, polluted by sin, poisoned by greed. But heaven's river never slows, never fades, never empties. It runs endlessly, refreshing the redeemed for eternity, carrying with it the limitless love of God. Beside the river grows the tree of life, spreading its branches wide, bearing 12 fruits in every season. Earthly trees need time to rest. They wither, they go dormant, they die. But in heaven, the tree produces forever. Its leaves shimmer with healing for the nations, a limitless provision of peace, joy, and restoration for all eternity. The glory of heaven is not static or monotonous. It is alive, growing, and unfolding. On earth, even the grandest experiences eventually fade into memory, and beauty loses its freshness. But in heaven, beauty is not something you look at. It is something you live inside forever. Every corner of eternity unveils a new wonder. Every moment reveals a new brilliance, and every revelation deepens your awe. Heaven's limitlessness is not simply size, but also depth, a depth of glory that will never stop surprising you. Earth's beauty is breathtaking, but it is fleeting. Sunsets explode in fire only to fade into darkness. Flowers bloom with fragrance only to wither into dust. Stars burn bright but collapse in death. All beauty here is fragile. But in heaven, beauty is eternal. It grows brighter with every passing age, richer with every unfolding revelation. Limitless God created a limitless glory that cannot fade, a kingdom where beauty is not temporary but everlasting, not fragile but indestructible. On earth, the vastness of mountains, oceans, and skies can make us feel small, insignificant, and even lost. But heaven reverses that feeling. In heaven, vastness will not diminish you, it will enlarge you. Instead of feeling insignificant, you will feel chosen. Instead of being swallowed by size, you will be embraced by it. The God who stretched out galaxies with his hand also built a home that whispers into eternity, I made this with you in mind. Even time bows before the limitlessness of heaven. On earth we are bound by seconds and hours, trapped in the ticking of clocks. Days end, nights fall, lives close. Time always runs out. But in heaven, time loses its power. Eternity is not just longer, it is the absence of limitation. You could walk for 10,000 years and still not touch the edges of glory. You could live for eternity and still never say, I have seen it all. Heaven is not a countdown. It is forever new. Worship in heaven reflects its infinite size and infinite harmony. John describes it as voices like rushing waters, like rolling thunder, multitudes upon multitudes crying out together. On earth, great crowds create confusion and noise, but in heaven, the limitless space and perfect design ensure it is never chaos. Instead, it is a symphony. Worship rises as one unbroken, perfect sound, infinite souls in perfect harmony before the throne. The sound of heaven's praise is eternal, yet it never grows old. On earth, repetition breeds weariness, but in heaven, repetition becomes revelation. Every moment unveils something new about God. Each glimpse of His glory sparks a fresh eruption of worship. Eternity is not endless routine, it is endless renewal, endless discovery, endless awe. Heaven is an eternal crescendo of joy. Limitless heaven silences every fear humanity has ever known. On earth, we fear running out of time, of resources, of love, of belonging. Scarcity drives our worries and our wars. But in heaven, horizons stretch beyond measure, proclaiming with every mile, there is no lack here. Scarcity dies at heaven's gates. Abundance rules forever in God's presence. Even creation bows before the immensity of heaven. Mountains that seem unshakable, oceans that appear infinite, deserts that stretch without end, and stars that burn with unfathomable power, all of them shrink beside the eternal city. What appears massive to human eyes is revealed as small when heaven is unveiled. Earth's grandeur is but a shadow of the limitless dwelling of God. The God who measures the heavens with His hand, Isaiah 40:12, has also built a city beyond comprehension. He who weighed mountains and oceans on His scales has prepared a dwelling place that defies every measurement. If God holds galaxies like dust, then how great must be the city He calls home. Heaven is the divine blueprint of His majesty, a creation that reflects His immeasurable greatness. The sheer immensity of heaven proves salvation is not narrow. Grace is not stingy. Redemption is not reserved for the privileged few. A limitless God prepared a limitless heaven because His mercy is wider than sin, deeper than shame, and stronger than death. Heaven's vastness proclaims a gospel truth. There is room for all who believe. Imagine billions upon billions of redeemed souls gathered in heaven, men and women from every nation, tribe, and language across history. On earth, such multitudes would overwhelm cities, strain resources, and create chaos. But in heaven, the vastness embraces them all. Every soul has room, every voice has space, every redeemed child has a home. Only in a limitless heaven designed by a limitless God can such a multitude belong. And it is not only humans who fill this place. Angels beyond number, myriads upon myriads, bow before the throne. Revelation describes an uncountable host, radiant beings who worship day and night. Limitless heaven contains limitless worshippers. And still, the space overflows with more room, more glory, more majesty beyond imagination. The universe itself is expanding, scientists say, galaxies pulling away from one another into endless space. Yet even this expansion is finite. Heaven already embodies infinity. What science can only chase, heaven already is. It is not contained by space. Space is contained by it. Eternity is the framework within which creation exists, and heaven is its center. For all eternity, no one in heaven will ever say, "I've reached the end." Heaven is not a destination with limits. It is the home of new beginnings without conclusion. It is endless wonders without exhaustion, eternal joy without decline. Heaven is life without boundaries, love without measure, glory without end. The limitless nature of heaven is not abstract philosophy. It is love made visible. Its size, its radiance, its horizons are not meant to confuse or overwhelm, but to comfort and assure. Heaven's message is simple yet staggering. There is room here. There is room for all who call upon the name of the Lord. And at the center of it all is Jesus Christ. He himself is the light of the city. The brilliance of heaven is not powered by suns or fueled by stars, but flows from the Lamb. His love fuels its radiance. His sacrifice secures its eternity. The limitless glory of heaven is anchored in the limitless love of Christ. Every crown laid down, every robe of white, every song sung reflects his greatness. Heaven's vastness does not exist to glorify heaven itself, but to magnify the limitless God who made it. The city is not the focus, the Lamb is. The size is not the miracle, the God who fills it is. Heaven's size shocks the imagination, but its purpose melts the heart. It was not built to impress angels or to boast of God's power. It was built to reveal his love. Every wall, every gate, every horizon whispers, "This is for my children." Heaven's immensity is not pride, it is a promise. So when we ask, how big is heaven really? The answer cannot be measured in miles, light years, or galaxies. The answer is God himself. Heaven is as limitless as his mercy, as boundless as his love, as endless as his eternity. Its dimensions are not in numbers, but in his nature. And one day, when the gates stand open and the redeemed are gathered home, the truth will echo through eternity. Our limitless God has prepared a limitless heaven, bigger than the universe, bigger than time, bigger than imagination, and more glorious than we ever dreamed. And now, as the vision of this limitless kingdom burns in your soul, one truth overwhelms every thought, every tear, every breath. Heaven was never about numbers, walls, or distance. Its measure is not in miles, not in light years, not in galaxies. Its measure is God himself. The gates that stand open forever, the walls that stretch into the heavens, the horizons that roll into eternity, all of them are sermons declaring the nature of their builder. Heaven is limitless because the one who fills it is limitless. Think of what this means. A city vast enough to hold billions upon billions of redeemed souls, and yet personal enough that not a single name is forgotten. A kingdom wide enough to embrace every nation, tribe, and tongue, yet tender enough that Jesus himself wipes away every tear. A place so endless that eternity will never exhaust its wonders, and yet so intimate that Christ himself said, "I go to prepare a place for you." Limitlessness and intimacy, infinity and love, joined in one breathtaking reality. And when the final trumpet sounds, when the redeemed of all ages step inside those shining gates, the truth will thunder across creation louder than every star combined. Scarcity is gone. Fear is silenced. Death is destroyed. Love has no boundaries. Grace has no ceiling. Mercy has no walls. Our limitless God has prepared a limitless heaven, a kingdom bigger than galaxies, brighter than suns, deeper than eternity, and more glorious than human imagination ever dared to dream. And in that endless day, with crowns cast down and voices raised high, the universe will echo with one anthem that cannot be silenced. Worthy is the Lamb who was slain. Worthy is the King who reigns forever. Worthy is the God whose love has no end. Then, through tears of joy that will never again be touched by sorrow, every soul will whisper the eternal confession, "This is bigger than I ever imagined. This is brighter than every star combined. This is home forever." Jesus is knocking. Answer while there's still time. Right now, Jesus is knocking on your heart, Revelation 3:20. Before the storm comes, before it's too late, don't harden your heart. Say yes to him today and be marked for salvation, not judgment. Let heaven be your eternal home. not a missed opportunity. Pray this now. Jesus, I believe you are the Son of God. I believe you died and rose again. Forgive me, cleanse me, make me new. I surrender my life to you. Write my name in the book of life. I am yours forever. Amen. If you prayed that, comment, yes, I'm answering the call. Share this message, visit ourlum.com and subscribe for more truth that prepares you for eternity.